Hello, today I'm gonna read A Wish in the Dark by Christina Sundtronbach. Chapter 2. Later, as they lay on their backs next to the river gate, Pong tried to remind Sunkit how great that mango had been. The sun had started to set, and their golden brown cheekbones and shins were turning to the same purple color as the sky. Sunkit touched his bruised cheek and winced. Why do I have to be friends with such a loud mouth? Pong grinned. Because no one else will be friends with you. Sunkit reached over and flicked him on the ear. Ow, Pong, said Pong, scooting away. You know, between the two of us, you've actually got the bigger mouth. And you'll notice that I keep it shut around the guards and the meat kids, said Sunkit. Sometimes you have to go along with things if you don't want to get mashed into pulp. But you just never know when to shut up and let things go. I know, said Pong, folding one arm under his head. But we earned that mango. It's stupid that we even have to wait for them to fall. The guards should just let us climb the tree. It's almost like they want us to make us to have to fight over them. He put two fingers on the bone in the center of his rib cage. Stuff like that, I don't know. It just makes me so mad. I get this burning feeling right here. It's probably gas, said Sunkit. Look, next year, those stupid girls will turn 13 and then they'll be out of here. We'll be the oldest ones and we can eat our mangoes in peace. Children born at Namon were released when their mother's sentence was up or when they turned 13, whichever came first. But Pong didn't care about the girls' release date. If anything, it was just one more bit of unfairness that those two would get get out first. It would be 4 more years until Pong and Sunkit turned 13. 4 years. It felt like forever. Pong turned his face from Sunkit and looked past the bars out of the river gate. Namwan sat a little upriver from Chatana City. From here, Pong could just see the lights starting to come on, one by 1,000 until there were 2 cities. One on the shore, one in the water, both made of light. Normally, at this time of night, the 2 of them would take turns sharing their dreams about what sort of life they lead in the city after they go out, the food they eat, the boats they buy. Sunkit would have at least 3 boats, one to live on, one to fish from, and one speedboat with a custom motor that would be good for nothing except driving ridiculously fast. Pong liked to picture himself as a grown man with a good job and a full belly, longing in the back of that slick speedboat with Sunkit at the wheel. A single orb of glass swung from the mango tree overhead. Its dim violet glow couldn't compete with the bright blaze across the river. Compared to the city, Namas was like a cave. Was it any wonder that life wasn't fair for them? How could fairness find its way to them through all that darkness? But once they got out under those lights, life would be different. They would eat mangoes and they didn't have to fight for When they asked for help, people would listen. Some kid turned into his side with a groan. "Aw, every bone in my body hurts. You've got to promise me to lie low, at least until after next week." "What's next week?" Some kid rolled his eyes and shook his head. "You sit and listen to mangoes for hours, but you can't even hear what people are saying when they are standing right next to you. Didn't you hear the cooks today? The governor is coming here next week for an official visit." Pang sat up, ignoring the ache in his ribs. "The governor!" "I know," said some kid, licking his lips. "We're actually going to get some decent food for once." The cook said they are going to grill a bunch of chickens, but Pang couldn't think about food. He was thinking about the guest. Most people in Chatana looked up to the governor. After what he'd done for the city, how could they not? The man was a hero, but to Pang he was even more. Pang had only ever seen a portrait of him in a textbook, but even from the picture he could tell that the governor was someone who would understand him. He would care about the unfairness at Namwon. If he knew how things were, he'd change them. That's just the kind of person he was, someone who made things right. Pang's wild and secret wish, the one he didn't tell even some kid about because it sounded too silly, was that one day he worked for Chatana's great leader. He imagined himself standing at the governor's side as an assistant or an advisor, or whatever sort of jobs grown people had. Together, they would make everyone's life brighter. The fact that the governor was coming to Namwon for a visit couldn't be just a coincidence. It had to be a sign. It had to mean that one day Pang's wish could come true. "Hey," said some kid, snapping his fingers in front of Pang's face. "You've got that funny look off your eyes now. I don't like it. Listen, you've got to promise me that you're going to keep your mouth shut from now on. No more trouble, okay?" He leaned closer and bugged his eyes out. "Okay?" Pang squinted at the city, making at the dots of light blur into one. "Okay," he said. "No more trouble." At the time, it seemed like a perfectly reasonable promise.